we have Jackson's. Let's see. How do we?
I was gonna say newest, most exciting politician.
Oh, he's a poly.
Yeah. No.
Did you ever think he's gonna get into politics?
Never, actually, at all.
Now where on the political line here? Okay,
do you put that?
Do you put school board? I mean, I would say that's kind of entry level politician.
I sure hope so.
Yeah.
It's a nonpartisan race. You don't have to declare Republican or Democrat.
Right. Do you know any? I mean, other than like around here, do you know anybody on school board like in other towns, like country or states?
I knew Ryan Smith through Rye Grand. We did some work for them.
Yeah, I know Ryan.
He was in Gallia County for a while before he went to the real politics.
Well, okay. So do you see? There it is.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. Next governor of Ohio.
Oh yeah.
Well, you'd have to beat Taylor Stepp.
One of my FAA. They call them designated examiners in the FAA. He was in Bell Fountain. He was a school board member, and he said he's never done anything quite as miserable in his life.
Oh boy, well that's exciting.
So I signed up.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Hey, tonight's show brought to you by Ski.
Yeah, Jim Boblin.
Yeah, cheers.
We're
boys.
all enjoying a very nice cold ski.
This is the
first one I've had in a minute.
Well,
Hickey said the same thing. I've had a couple of diet ones. It's been a while since I've had.
I went into the Philly and they had the old retro cans. Yeah, I was like, I can't pass that up. Limited edition.
Yeah. See, that's me. I'm a sucker for marketing.
Yeah,
I see something like that. That takes me back to my high school days. Right
it says it right here. It contains real fruit juices. If you guys have never had a ski, I mean that's
which a lot of our audience probably don't even know what it is. You should probably find it.
I'd say actually
if you're in the greater Appalachian area, you know what it is. Yeah.
How big is it in Tennessee where you go?
It's not.
Thought you
I do, but you don't see it much down there. Yeah. I've got some buddies I hunt with up in northern Ohio, up in near Toledo, and they're like, "Hey, you're coming? Bring some ski with you."
Yeah.
So we take it with us.
Really?
Yeah, they can't find it.
Oh man, when I was in college, I mean, I don't know that it had near the distribution that it does now.
Yep.
But I mean, I went to college in Columbus, and I had several buddies in the dorms. Really? Hey, bring me back a case. Bring me back a case. Yeah.
There's another potato chip. Is it Mr. B's? That's made here locally too. Somewhere.
I don't know what it is. There's one like down in the towards Cincinnati.
Something,
or something.
Yeah. Not Cons. Is it Cons?
I don't know.
C-O-N-N-S?
Mike Sells used to be that used to be an Ohio company, I think, but I don't know.
All right, Hickey, let's get right to it.
All right.
Why did you like what I know you like to hunt?
Yep.
Big hunter. By the way, I got to tell you, I'm going October of 24.
Are you?
Yep.
What state?
White River National Forest, Colorado.
Okay.
We got to get into that here before the show.
We will.
But so you're a big hunter.
Yep.
You are a commercial pilot.
Correct.
You are an engineer.
Yep.
And you are the Jackson City Fire Chief.
Assistant.
Yep. Who is the chief?
Dave Channel.
Oh, I think okay. I didn't know Dave was.
Yeah, he's been in the fire department 50 years.
Yeah. He is the fire department. Why would you want to take on something else?
You know, I've got 3 kids in the district.
I can't say you've done any of them badly.
Well, you know, there's a point where you become saturated. I always say you can do a few things really well or a lot of things really bad. Like in my job,
there's
you got to watch
line.
that. Yeah, there is, and I got a lot of support from my daughter's ultra responsible. My wife, huge help. I mean, she pulls a heck of a load of.
Did you guys get married?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
December,
Congratulations.
23rd. I came home from work early. She made me.
Huh, I didn't know that.
Not really.
Did you know that?
Oh yeah,
I didn't know you was married.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, go ahead.
But the kids, I got 3 kids in the district, and I grew up. My mom was a teacher. I grew up with flashcards my whole life. I mean, she just drilled it in my head. And I always kind of wanted to be a school teacher, and she didn't necessarily steer me away from it. But you know, I had known construction. I grew up building houses around here, and then I got lucky enough to get an internship in high school when we were building the schools in Jackson. So my junior and senior year, I would go like half a day and then go up to the schools. And I mean, I swept the floor, sent faxes at the time. That was how long ago it was, you know. I did like busy work for them. And that was first my introduction into construction. I stayed the course with construction because that's what I knew. But I always wanted to be a teacher, probably like high school, math, science, chemistry, something like that. You know, that's kind of my MO. But I think if you I told you last time I was on here, like, you only get so many days on earth, right? Don't waste them. I feel like maybe that's something that I can really contribute. Being on school board, because I'm not an educator. I'm not trained to be an educator. I just think I can bring a lot to it with kids in the district. My background dealing with finances.
What degree do you have?
I'm a civil engineer, civil and environmental engineering.
Do you have a master's?
No, it's just a 5-year program. It's a bachelor's. Should have probably. I could have got, my GPA was high enough. I could have got through the master's program for free. Okay. And 5 years was I was spent.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm after 12.
Yeah, exactly. And I just didn't have 2 more years in me, or 3, or whatever it takes.
Yeah.
So I ended up moving back, working where I work now, Geiger Brothers, and
our sponsor. Thank you.
Yeah, they are.
Construction. Yeah.
And so I'm here, and nobody really forced me into it. I grew up with my mom, heavily focused on the district. She was a teacher 25 years. And when did
you decide that you were going to run for school board?
So I
was there
thought
something
about
that sparked it, or is this like were you, because there's 2 ways of running. You're going to either run on it's like coaching,
right?
You either decide to coach so some other dumbass doesn't do it, or you decide to coach because you care about kids.
Yeah, no, I just strictly care about kids. I had talked to several people about it 4 years ago when it was, everybody was up and running again, and I decided it probably wasn't the time for it.
Yeah. Kids were younger.
Sure, they were.
Your kids are almost to the point where they can watch yourselves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And like I said, Addie's ultra responsible. I mean, she functions on her own.
How old is she?
13.
So you got 13, 11.
Yep.
And 10.
Yep.
With Barron.
5th, 6th, 7th grade right now. So we're stacked in there.
Yeah.
We got Barron's 5th grade Southview, and then Addie and Ace are at the middle.
They're both at middle school now.
Yep.
Oh, 6th grader. Okay, so you've wanted to run them for a minute. I mean, you ever think about doing that, Chad?
No.
No.
I mean, I don't know. I have a similar background to Kyle as far as that goes. I had
both
parents that were involved in it heavily. Maybe someday. I just I probably, it was just a bit too selfish, man.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, when I have good friends that are running and on the board, I don't feel a need to do it.
Sure.
I mean, I'm terribly happy that this man here is stepping up.
Me too. Yeah.
Because I know that he can do a better job than me on the board. And I feel like we have very similar interests in the future of our children, man. They're all the same age, man.
So okay, and I'm just asking, as a constituent, I guess, which I'm actually probably not. I can't vote for that. Yeah,
you're a no-kill.
Yeah, I'm a no-kill. Across street's Jackson, but I'm a no-kill.
I know it's right there in the line.
But okay, if you were talking to your voters, okay, so what, if you in that position, what is your role to do?
So I look at the school board obviously you're responsible for the administration, right?
You're responsible for the administration.
Yeah, you would help hire the superintendent of schools. He would then deal with the principals and stuff like that. So part of it is guiding the district in selection of the right superintendent or keeping the same superintendent. The second thing is obviously dealing with the financial budget. Do you go out for a levy? Do you not? Are we spending money on this or are we not? You've got those responsibilities. You don't necessarily have day-to-day activities, and that's the same way in my business. I don't get in the day-to-day activities of the construction trades as much anymore. And because you have people in place, you've hired the right people that do that, right? You've got to surround yourself with successful people. Mm-hmm. And that's what we've done at work, and I think that's what you do in the school district.
So you're managing a budget.
That's it.
And what about the curriculum?
Putting the right leaders in place.
What about curriculum? Because I think we talked about this on the show one time. My son learned this year about the Holocaust.
Yep.
Okay. Nothing major, but he heard the word in school. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Comes home and asks me about it. There's a curriculum thing. I'm starting to wonder, do we still need to be using a curriculum? And I know that they switched over to what do they call that, Common Core?
Boy, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but they switched to Common Core. But do we really still need to be teaching the same things that we were 20 years ago? And what's changed
I think it's evolved a good bit.
I know
the math has because I sit with my daughter and my son at night or whatever, and they're going through math, and I'm like, man, that is not how I learned to do it. And I can get you to the answer, but it's like
right now blows my mind, man.
Me too.
Because they do it a lot differently. Particularly math is when
they do a lot.
Oh yeah, man.
Of homework.
They do.
Oh yeah.
I never took a book home.
No.
I always swore, and it kind of started the drive for school board, and I don't know why. Maybe then I had a slight inversion of it, but I went to University of Cincinnati. Everybody in Cincinnati is private Catholic. Like, you go there, and it's like, what school you go to? I'm like, Jackson. Yeah. They're like, Mississippi? You sound like you're from Mississippi. Yeah. I actually had them tell me
sure,
that. Yeah. And I'm like, no, like 2 hours from here. Nobody heard of the place.
Yeah.
But the first year was a review to them.
Me too.
And it was not for me.
It was.
I lived in the library. Absolutely.
I struggled. Yeah.
I had the hard classes in high school, and I did try. Had to try a lot harder.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I don't know if it. I look at our state testing scores and stuff, and I was at a school board meeting there 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago, and we're struggling a little bit. District is. The high school's rated 2 out of 5 stars, and they got a crazy matrix of how this.
What is it?
I don't know that I could explain it. They got like 5 different grading areas. Those are further broke down into 5 or 6 areas, and our graduation rate's only 92%. To me, that's pretty low. It's like 92.8, 92%. I mean, that's 1 in 10. Round numbers.
Yeah,
that don't make it through the Jackson schools. Right. And I just feel like.
Wonder if that's K through 12 or just like seniors.
I think it. I don't know where that equation was. They went through it in the board meeting, and I'm not sure what they calculate that on. I don't know when they leave and when they start.
So what did they say about all that after they?
They've got a plan in place. The state gets involved when you get that low of a score. They start putting in some. I don't want to call it intervention, but they start assisting you better in a district.
Wow.
And I don't want it to sound like it's taken away. I watched my mom. I mean, she worked her butt off.
Oh, we're married to 2 of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I don't want it to sound like the teachers aren't doing the job because they're working their butt off. I see it. I grew up in it.
Yeah. Why is it then?
I don't know. Well, that's what I really want. I want to get into the details and try to understand.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the factor is where we are.
And I totally get it. Hey, listen, you want to get you a good dose of Jackson. Have a building down here in the middle of the Apple Festival.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah,
and I don't mean that bad. No. Well, I do mean it bad. Yeah. I do mean it bad. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. But I mean, it's like, what has happened?
Yeah,
that people have stopped caring down here.
Well, I mean, I don't know that there's been a massive change. I don't know that it's gotten any better, but I don't know that it's necessarily gotten any worse. I mean, you got to think when you're looking at the state standard. Okay, everybody is thrown in there. Mm-hmm. Jackson is competing in the same metric as Dublin,
Newark Catholic,
or Dublin, I know down here the school district, and I mean I'm talking completely out of nothing.
Yes, I don't know.
I remember it always used to be that Wheelersburg was unbelievable, but if you look at that, man, it's kind of like that bedroom community of Portsmouth. A lot of professionals live there. A lot of, very few bus students.
Well, we're the bedroom community, though, of Jackson County.
Well, yeah, we would be, but if you look at the socioeconomic level here, I don't know what the median income in Jackson is.
38,000.
But I would say if you look, I would argue there is a direct correlation between the grade on your schools and the socioeconomic or median income
of your community. Or of your district.
And I don't know that. That is a hypothesis.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely
first study.
But and I don't want that to sound negative.
No.
Because, I mean, they're working their butt off. I know SWAC and those guys that lead that school, Wooten and SWAC. I mean, day in, day out, that's what they do.
But is it the maybe the pay of the teachers that we are recruiting?
So I got a philosophy on that, and I'll tell you how we've been very successful in business. Is we probably pay a premium for our people at Geiger Brothers, and I'm perfectly okay with that because we've been very successful because of our people, and those people have brought work, competed work, been very competitive at work. They work hard, and I think that has treated us very well. as a business. So I think, part of me tells, you got to live within a budget, right? Or,
sure.
Geiger Brothers would love to pay everybody $1 million a year. Can't do it, we'd go broke. But we do want the cream of the crop people, right? You come out of college as a teacher, you're broke, or at least I was coming out of college. Yeah. You look at a district, and I don't even know the numbers, but say it's $35,000 or $40,000, and you go down the road 7 miles and make $45,000 or $50,000. That's big numbers.
Yeah.
When you're coming out of college, that's big numbers. Well,
sure.
where am I going?
Yeah.
I'm gonna drive 7 miles in the morning. I'm going to Wellston. I'm going to Oak Hill. I need the extra money right now. You got to get somehow. You got to level that playing field, so you're being able to select a talent.
Yeah.
You've alluded to it here a couple of times, and one thing that sticks out in my mind, I mean, you look at what you do as your profession, and it seems that there'll be a lot of relatable skill you can bring to the school board.
I was at the board meeting. They pulled up a balance sheet. It's formatted just like ours. I looked at it
you kind of like, your business background and what you've been doing certainly would help you in that position. If compared to somebody that essentially has nothing like that.
It does, and I always joke with Riss, my wife. You guys know her. I always tell her that she's quicker to get mad than I am. I'm pretty even kill. It takes a lot to make me mad.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I treated every situation I get into like she does, I would blow up. I would literally blow apart by 7 a.m. every morning. I mean, that's just the way my job is.
I can relate.
And you got to be able to critically think, and you've got to make the right decision. Sometimes it's not a popular decision, but you've got to think and weigh both sides and figure out what the right answer is. I mean, that's what I do day in, day out.
Right.
And then the financial part, that's we run a business. It's very similar to a school. The Jackson City schools have right around a $24 million revenue they bring in.
Is that for the students? You said we get 11,000 a student.
Yeah. So it looks like right now the data that I saw was Jackson gets just over 11,000 a student, and they're spending 13.
How?
So they're in a cash flow deficit right now.
How?
The funding in the state, as I understand it, and I'm going to dig into it a lot more because I'm learning as I just sit back and listen. But Wellston and Oak Hill, probably a lower medium. I don't know what the equation is, but they get more funding per kid than Jackson.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not slighting either one. It's just simple math, right? Engineers live in straight line square boxes is what I say. We don't see shades of gray.
Yeah.
So they would bring in, I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but say 15 or 18,000 a kid, where Jackson brings in 11. They treat Jackson differently. Like, we've got some business growth here. I don't know if Louis Gino throws it off. We have jobs. So they kind of put us out on our own island, and they don't support us as much with the state and federal funding. I talking to a guy today, if you take Wellston and Oak Hill, put them together, that's about within 300 students of being Jackson.
Okay.
Population size. They would get an additional $11 million. If you put them schools together, similar sized, based on their current funding structure, they get an additional $11 million a year that Jackson don't get.
Right.
So we're like in a dead zone. We're not New Albany.
Yeah.
We're not getting Intel. We're not got money running out our ears, but we're not at the bottom where they tend to subsidize it heavier.
Well, it's kind of the argument that they've always made with the sports programs. We're in the biggest, but we're not in a big city.
Yeah, like we're Division III. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably a good
Not
analogy.
the biggest,
but the thing is, like, we're Division III that, think how many bus students we have.
Yeah.
Think how many kids that might be on a bus 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
So are we really Division III? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Like a Division III school in Columbus, say Watterson, nobody rides a bus.
Right.
Yeah.
They all live,
4 blocks away.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is different. And I think with that, the stuff where it's primarily based upon socioeconomic levels, median incomes, available jobs, we're kind of like one of those where we're just, we're a little too high.
Yeah.
To get the full juice.
That's exactly my understanding of how they fund it, the district. And it's just not, it's not good for the district. I mean, obviously, the 13,000 a kid is in the bottom 10 or 15 percentile of the districts around here. They sampled like 30 districts maybe around here. Most of them are paying 15, 18, 20,000 a student.
Is there any correlation with this in the test results?
I don't think it's tied to funding. I do not. I think, if anything, it would almost be an inverse relationship.
Well, it kind of should be. Yeah. You know, hey, if you guys are doing really good, then, hey, you must be effective, and we'll pump some money at you. But if you're not getting your grades up.
Well, they kind of look at it the other way around.
Yeah,
I think it's inverse.
Yeah, like they look at it like, oh, man, they're not getting it done. We better get some money over there.
Yeah.
You know. And that's what I mean. I think we've been our own worst enemy. As far as it's not like we're booming, but we're just, you know, and our you know, maybe our testing and all that, we're not blowing it out of the water, but we're also not
at the bottom of the sea,
right. So like we're falling like right there in that middle ground.
Maybe we need to get worse.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you, if we're wanting money, I'd say it might be. Hey, everybody. I want to talk to you about one of our special friends and friend of the program, Geiger Brothers Construction. Man, those guys have been with us since the start. Scott Massey, even though we're kind of hard on you sometimes, we sure do appreciate your sponsorship. And guys, if you own a commercial business and you need some contracting, engineering work, anything done, give those guys a call. 740-286-0800. Geiger Brothers. Thanks.
I'm not a big fan of the state standardized testing. You know, when we grew up, they had it, and in a couple years they did, and then it came back as a different program, and then it left, and then it came back again.
Used to be called the efficiency test or something.
Right, and I mean, I remember sitting there like, I know how to do this, but I'm losing my mind right now because my teachers told us, like,
you're going to fail.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you've got to do good. You know, I need to do good. I watch my mom stress.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I see my wife do it every year, you know, these math tests and stuff. But the thing is, any kind of a test, I don't think you can get too carried away.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, these colleges and stuff, it's all about what you get on the ACT and all this. And it's like, you know, some kids are excellent testers.
Sure.
You know, and some are not.
It's like a finite snapshot.
Right. I don't think you're
How
really
did you
seeing
feel
the
today?
whole thing. Yeah,
was your mind clear today?
Yeah.
And now I will say this, okay? Now, and this is just coming from a real world guy that has no interest in politics.
Sure.
I will say we're turning out a great kid.
Oh,
you know, we're not. We may not be turning out the smartest.
No, but at Jackson,
yes, but and I think, you know, I don't know if you guys. There was a phrase or somebody had something here not too long ago, and it says, and it was like 80% of the world's entrepreneurs were C students.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. And it's like, okay, you know, as long as I really don't care what that state test says, but if I got somebody that's ready for the world, I'm really more concerned about that.
Yeah. And I think, you know, if you take a snapshot of the Jackson City schools, one thing I would say, man.
So we're leading the pack.
Some of these younger guys and gals that we've had on this show,
absolutely,
we've had the privilege. And I mean, and just top to bottom, I mean, my opinion of the average student that's coming out of the Jackson City schools is pretty impressive.
Me too.
I mean, it really is.
Olivia Kennedy's, Grant Kennedy's.
You know, I know they're doing some sort of volunteer thing. You have to have so many volunteer credits. You know, I mean, I feel like they're building people, which is great. You know, and you can get your grades and your GPA. That's great. That's a big part of it.
Because school really don't matter. Well, I mean, you know, what I learned, I know nothing. I didn't have to do anything. So it was relevant to me, you know.
Well, I thought the same thing growing up, you know, coming out of high school, maybe 3.2, 3.3. Went to college, and I thought I'd show up every morning like I did in high school.
Yeah.
And I'd be fine. And I'm convinced. And, you know, I started with 145 civil engineers. We graduated like 37 or somewhere around there.
That's quite an attrition.
Yeah. And so I realized real quick that I could show up every day and fail right out.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't care.
But see, you didn't learn that in high school. You learned that as an adult. Like, you're bound to turn breakout light, aren't you?
No, that was a ski can.
Oh. But see, that's what I'm saying. You were probably a straight A student at Jackson. Right?
No.
You weren't?
I tried.
You tried?
My mother wanted me to be up until high school.
Was you pretty good? Was you 3.5, 3?
I had 3.3 somewhere in there probably.
Okay, yeah.
high school, my priorities changed a little bit as I got older. Probably didn't help my GPA much.
But whenever you got into engineering school, it was like a light was switched in you that said, okay, if I want to graduate with my engineering degree, I'm going to have to buckle down.
I mean, I didn't have a choice. I lived in the library.
So what I'm saying is, you're proving what I'm saying. In high school, you're still under mom and dad's roof. There's really no face of reality coming at you yet. I mean, now every kid's different, but I'm saying, like, do those years really matter?
Well, every kid is accountable to themselves, man.
But when do they learn that? When do they learn?
Different times.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a late bloomer.
I was a late bloomer too.
Yeah. But I mean, I just feel like, sure, could the Jackson City schools get better? And I mean, obviously the answer is yes.
Sure. Yeah.
What, like, when you're approaching this position on the board, like,
we're just gonna pretend like you're already there.
Yeah. Like, what would be? I mean, what are some of the priorities you're looking at?
It's back to developing people. You got to get them to score higher. You don't want to bomb the barrel school district,
right?
And we don't have one.
Right.
We've got great people in great places. Like I watched Swag stand in front of the school board over 2 days ago, and he said, "Hey, this isn't good enough. Here's our plan. Boom, 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 and we're going to work hard." I mean, he's got a path forward. He's got a plan. He knows where he needs to head with it.
Yeah.
I feel like part of it when we went to school too that I'd like to reinforce to people is college isn't for everybody. Big proponent of like the micro dirty jobs guy.
Yeah.
When we went to school, it was you got to go to college or you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And it's treated me very well. I'm not going to say it doesn't, but they basically told you that's what you're doing. They didn't tell me that you could come out and be a pipe fitter and make $100,000 a year at 18 years old. I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Yeah. Right.
That wasn't sold. It was like, well, if you don't go to college, there's something wrong with you. Yeah. And I'm like,
I blame the guidance counselors for that.
We have great. In this area is really fortunate. We have some of the most talented tradesmen. Period. We can send our guys to Columbus and they look like all stars.
Yeah.
No matter what. So a lot of kids here grow up with their dad in the garage or what have you, and they come out with a skill set that's very lucrative.
Handy.
Yeah, and lucrative now because not a lot of people want to work, right? Everybody wants a desk job, everyone wants an office job. Those guys that still put in the work every day, I mean, they make a killing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's for a lot of kids.
Yeah. They have great careers. I mean, I know with you guys, man, your guys are retiring early.
Well, and I feel like the word maybe is starting to get out. But man, you really think, like, especially in an area like this, man, I mean, we should just charge our kids up with some of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, back whenever Kyle and I you were a little bit different. You were bound and determined. You were going to college.
I mean, that's just I mean, I kind of like what you said. I don't know that I ever entertained
doing
another option.
Yeah.
Well, nobody really knew how to, and this was back before tech, but nobody really had that in hole to get into the trades world. They might end up at the local muffler shop. Or something like that.
They had of course, when I was in high school, they had Buckeye Hills.
Yeah.
They had, there's several different trade programs there. They had a program in our high school that was called like T&I, I believe, which was a what is that, like a
technical and industry?
That's like but it's like
tool and
T&I tool and instrumentation, maybe. I don't know.
And you basically learn to be a machinist.
Welders.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah. And I mean, and I've heard several success stories from that program where guys went on and got jobs at like Worthington Steel and stuff out of high school.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Buckeye Hills is doing great. I don't know how the structure is set up, like mechanical drawing's gone, right? That's where I got my start.
Oh, sure.
Paul Seitz was my guy. He's the one.
That was always one of my favorite classes in high school, man.
Absolutely, and that's non-existent now. But Buckeye Hills is partnered with like the operating engineers, so all the operators. They've got AEPs involved, so they're bringing linemen in. So they're creating that avenue you guys are talking about.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's a bigger awareness now amongst our student body that those kind of careers?
I would certainly
available?
hope there is, because there's a heck of a vacuum in skills trades. I mean, like you said, a lot of our guys are retiring. We've got what I see is a big gap, right? You've got the guys that, You
got the 18-year-olds and you got those guys.
Yep. You got some that are getting into it now.
Yeah.
And then you've got the guys that were retiring. There wasn't a whole lot in the middle.
Yeah. No, there's
not
really
not a lot of guys our age.
Yeah. Yeah, not a lot of guys our
Yeah,
age.
exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
And it was part of how we were steered, right?
Well, the economy was different back then. You know, you could go to the Mills Prides, the Kenworths. There were so many of those factories.
That's the thing. Like, if you didn't go to college, you didn't necessarily have to go get training in a specific trade.
You had a job.
Yeah, there were living wage paying jobs.
Yeah, and now you've either got fast food or retail.
Yeah, there's not or
your
options aren't big.
Skilled trade.
You go become a skilled tradesman. Yeah. You know? And I just think there's so many people that would have benefited from that. Heck, maybe I'm one of them. I don't know, because I'll tell you, you go and you amass a bunch of college debt, and maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe you didn't even ever really want to go to college.
Well, and I've seen some math where like if you assume X amount of dollars of debt and you instead you go to work, it takes you like so 15 years to catch up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah, or you just go buy yourself $60,000 truck and $10,000 welder.
Oh yeah,
learn how to use it.
Right. You may travel a little bit when you're young, but
now let me ask you this, okay? Because I can see this happening to you. Okay. I think some people run because they love to stroke their ego.
Yeah. You can see that happen to me.
No. Oh. I don't I see I can, so like I think there's some people that will run maybe your opponent, and he likes his, or he would want, or somebody would want they're doing it out of, hey, I know everybody, I love the attention type thing. I don't think that they
want to be a power broker, or what do you mean?
No, I'm saying like there's people that like attention.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And they just have to be a part of something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that you're necessarily like that. Now, you see a lot of those type of people in politics.
Oh, sure.
Okay. So that person is a politician.
Right.
But now you're going to be a politician. Okay. And are you going to be able to handle the stresses? Now, I will say you've probably got to jump on that with the fire thing, but are you going to be able to handle the stresses of not being able to go out to dinner without somebody chewing your ass about what's going on in the school?
Yeah, that doesn't bother me. My phone was actually ringing about 5 minutes ago from labor in Athens. So, I'm.
Well, this is another.
Again, this is like business prepared, though. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm used to it. We've got we're pushing 400
chill.
Employees right now.
You do stay chill. I will say that.
They all inevitably, work with me.
Yeah. But there's a difference, because whenever you get into a political seat, it's not a matter of these people work on the same job as you.
Right.
These people are chewing on you.
Yeah, and like I said, wrist would blow apart 7 a.m. every morning.
Is she going to be able to handle it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She'll support for sure.
Well, but, her dad was just in it, so she got a little dose of it there. But but I'm saying, like, people are going to get on her. It's just like Sarah Munn.
I know. When they catch them out.
Yeah, when they catch them out. Hey, Mindy gets it all the time. Hey, I need you to talk to Pudge about this or what. And
sure. No, it won't bother me at all.
You don't think that'll bother you at all?
I deal with that stuff every day.
Drives me nuts.
See, if you're capable of having a tough conversation, like business-wise,
sure,
I think that it kind of trains you for that a little bit.
I don't disagree. I mean, I was in contract negotiation stuff at a General Mills today. It's sometimes it's not a fun place to be, but I don't, stuff like that. I don't get down in the weeds. You'll never see me in the fray. You'll never see me far to the left or far to the right. I'm usually,
you're there to make a positive impact. You're not running on any agenda where you have a quote unquote bone to pick.
Oh, I have none. I don't think the district. I don't know that I could single handedly look at the district and go, I'm going in here to fix this.
Yeah, right.
And I that's not it. I'm looking at the budget. I'm analyzing the budget. I'm analyzing the pay, trying to figure out
the future of your kids.
Exactly, trying to figure out how do we get from a 2 to a 5-star. It sounds like they've got a plan. I'm really interested to see how that unrolls.
Yeah. You talked about it earlier. Okay, what better vested interest than a father
that has kids in the district?
And the fact that you spit that out firstly. By saying, hey, we got to get our grades up because my kid's in that.
Yeah,
your 2 kids is in that.
In 2 years, my daughter will be in that school, in the high school.
That's schematic. Yeah. She's going to be part of that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So it's
and thus why I strongly endorse this guy.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we all have like interests.
Mm-hmm.
I'm skeptical of guys
that don't have
that don't have. I wonder what their reasoning
What's
is.
their motive? Yeah.
Yeah, like if they didn't ever have kids in the district, or
I can tell you that, like, and I can tell you that if I didn't have kids in the district, I wouldn't have near the interest I have.
Right.
And that's just the fact behind it. I hate that sounds awful for me to say that.
See, I don't think it does.
But
no, I don't either.
I can tell you that, every dad wants to see their kid do the best, right?
Sure.
And every dad that, I want to see your kid. We all set at ball games, and we want to see your kid do good.
Yeah,
and your
right,
kid
right,
do good.
right.
I've got a vested interest there.
Right.
Yeah. And it's a way I feel like I can contribute because I'm not an educator. I'd love to, like I said, I'd love to taught 12th grade science.
Yeah. But this is a way you can give some of your expertise back to the schools.
My skill set will fit, it just fits the board better. Right.
Yeah.
It's the business decisions. It's setting up the right staffing to be successful. It's supporting that staffing, which is what we do day in.
What do you think of running so far? Like,
I hate it. Because people go, well, you're a politician now.
You going to bean dinners?
We're sitting here messing with you. How many auctions you been to?
Only one tonight.
Tonight, yeah.
Only one tonight. I've not been to it before.
Isn't that awful?
Yeah.
I struggle with it morally. I love to support kids, and you'll see Geiger Brothers logos all over everything.
Yes.
Like every billboard, every sign, and that comes from the top down. I mean, at one time we had like 5 Geiger Brothers teams playing in Little League.
Yeah.
So I'd love to support the kids.
Right.
I hate to go act fake. I struggle morally inside there. I'd love to support the kids. I have no problems with it. I don't want to go out and be somebody for 2 months.
Yeah.
And as soon as the election is not be that person.
Yeah.
Because that's not what I want to portray.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to elect me because of me.
Yeah.
Right.
Not because who I act like I was for 2 or 3 months.
Well, do what you say, like how most people say, I don't vote the party, I vote the person. And it's like, then don't expect somebody to come and just drop $2,000 because you're having a fundraiser and then cuss them because you're supposed to be voting for the person.
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah.
And that's, and that's what I think is probably a bigger challenge. Maybe not on local political level. I don't know. I mean, it's hard sometimes, I think, to identify as, hey, look, man, I'm just a real dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I mean, hey, I'll come to this. I'll play the game, but I'll do this anyway.
Yeah,
that's the way I feel about it. Tonight I was at the Hope Haven Fall Carnival, and I've been to it 2 other prior times.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that feeling of like, I'm here because I want you to vote for me.
Yeah.
And I just, to me, morally rubs me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that's politics, right?
Right.
Those guys go to dinners at state level and go, hey, I'm going to do better than the last guy. And by the way, thanks for the $500 state dinner.
I hate it.
I'm not cut out for it. I love the position. I'd love to provide my skill set to help the kids the best I can. Politics aren't my thing.
No.
I learned that really quick.
You're not going to sell your soul to do it.
I just won't. I mean,
I learned that at Park's Edge and all that, man. We have so many of those dinners and stuff. And
same song and dance.
Same song and dance.
I'm going to do better than the last guy.
We need your support. And
well, I'll tell you, one of the best things I think you've said, I love the fact that you're looking at it like, hey, man, I want to go into this, create positive impact on the schools. I'm not sitting here right now telling you, hey, man, I need to go in there and fix this.
No, I've heard things
or like I'm running because this guy is terrible. I'm, or anything.
No,
like that.
I told him that I just run for me. I don't run against somebody. I'm not running against anybody. I'm running because I think I can provide a positive feedback.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
You think you're going to
win? I hope. I do. I mean,
sure.
I really. I really think I can do some positive things. I'm really excited for the district. You got some young administrators, and you got Woot, and you got Swaghammer. That energy they'll provide.
Yeah.
They'll drive it, and I think they've got a really, really strong future. There's going to be some real difficult decisions. We talked about the budget, right?
Oh yeah.
I've heard that I'm on the agenda to follow in Butch's footsteps or whatever. Butch and I haven't had the first conversation about school board.
Yeah.
So I don't know where people get this stuff, but I've heard, I'm in there to keep salaries low.
I heard you're going to be a yes man the other day.
I'm sure, and that's just.
Yeah.
People are speculating. It's not real.
Well, here's the thing.
I wish they'd call me.
You have to it's just like Doug and Swack, you know. I mean, I know him, you know, as
Absolutely.
much as anybody. And the worst thing that you could do to help anything is give those guys a lot of resistance.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're in that position for a reason.
Yeah, right.
You know, so let them do their thing. If anything, get behind the locomotive and help push whatever they're want. You know,
what do they need?
What do they need to be
successful?
successful? Because
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, you know, a lot of that position, and I don't know anything about it, right? But like we're sitting here having this conversation, and it sounds to me like again, very close parallel to your business. You let the experts in the day-to-day do their thing, and then you provide the guidance and clear some of the roadblocks and hurdles that stand in their way.
That's exactly it. I mean, you know, I can't weld.
Right.
I can't weld. We got those guys, right?
Yeah, right.
You know, I'll get the stuff for them there. I'll get the hurdles out of their way.
Yeah.
Same thing. I can't teach.
Right.
You know,
right.
You'll let that person weld in a safe environment.
Yeah.
You'll let that person weld with the best stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or,
Exactly.
you know,
And same thing with teaching. I can't teach.
Right.
You know, but what are the how can I support the teachers to get what they need?
Because there again, now we're back to a full circle. We need those as dads.
Yeah.
You know, with children in that system, we need that to go from 2 to hopefully 3.5, 4, as best as we can.
The elementaries are off the rails. I think every elementary in Jackson's a 5.
I was going to say,
it looks like it fades away as the kids get older, and I that was a weird thing I just picked up in my mind when I was looking through the stuff, and I'm like,
interesting.
It seemed, you know, we're killing it in the younger ages.
I know. I can only speak about Northview because that's where my kid is, and Chad's wife is, and my wife. Hey, rock star teacher, assistant group, all of them.
Oh my goodness! Just finished up with one of our favorite stops after football.
McDonald's.
That's right. Thank you, Brad and Sarah Munn, and all of our local McDonald's restaurants for being great sponsors here at the Chubbies. Chubbies, I still want to know how many points you got. I've got more of them tonight. Go to McDonald's. Help out Brad and Sarah Munn. They sure help out our communities. Thanks, Brad and Sarah.
Yeah,
I mean, that whole group out there. I mean, and I can pretty well say that for all the teachers that I know.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure the other ones are the same way. I'm just not familiar with this.
But man, I tell you, that elementary school bunch is just whoa.
I'm the same way as Southview.
Yeah,
I mean, they just kill it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Wonder why that would. Wonder what was. I mean, puberty. You got puberty at that age. You got.
Could be. I mean, there's so much distraction right now. I mean, my kids. And nothing makes me mad. I'm sure I was the same way. But, I mean, in the morning, they get ready, and they get up on their own. They get ready on their own. And then for the next 30 minutes, they wander around staring at their phone, watching some video.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. The same way. Yeah.
And they just, I mean, I've seen them walk into walls. There's so much distraction.
There is, man.
I'm like, no. I said, get up and go feed a dog.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Have you got your homework done? You know?
Yeah. That's
did you get your lunch out of the refrigerator?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the way it goes, man.
I feel like they've got 30 minutes of distraction before they get to school in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know that that's good. And I think maybe the younger kids are probably shielded from it a little bit because most of your 1st through 5th graders don't have cell phones wandering around.
I've heard the middle school. Maybe you can vouch on this. I've heard the just, and I don't mean this the middle school. I've heard middle school right now is brutal. Like the bullying, just.
I mean,
meanness.
Now, I mean, that might be on the whole, and that may occur.
Yeah, that's what I said. I didn't mean that with.
And it may occur here. My experience there has been with both of my kids that are there, man. Like, they loved it.
Oh, they're both there, aren't they?
Yeah, and I mean, they like it, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay,
because it becomes more social.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, they're moving around now. They got lunch. They got all the other elementaries there too. So like,
they see all their buddies.
I mean, and I think that you start getting some of those social distractions as well. Like,
sure.
Oh, hey, there's a bunch of girls sitting over there. I wonder what her name is.
Yeah.
That kind of crap.
I'm just glad they can't go out to lunch.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
I mean, it was how much trouble could you get in 30 minutes and get back in your seat?
It's amazing how many asses get kicked in the middle of the lunch break.
In an alley out there between Swirly Top and the
you
school.
can get out to Havertown, whip
I was just going to say Havertown.
And still grab you a can of chew.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm glad they don't because that would be completely sideways. But
they don't leave high school now, do they?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I'll tell you, man, I wish you a lot of luck, man.
Well, we got to talk about some hunting.
Yeah. Okay. Let's close the school board thing. Any final words on
school board?
No, just know that I'll take my experiences and try to apply them the best I can for the good of the kids.
I believe that. I believe you're running for the right reasons.
I don't want to say no agenda. I have no side agenda or no sideways agenda.
Yes.
There's nothing that I can pinpoint that I really want to go like, this is what I'm going to fix, right?
Yeah.
Right.
There's some things I want to look at.
Why does it fail off in middle school?
Why do we fail off in middle school? Why do I continually hear from teachers that maybe we're the lowest paid in the area?
Right.
On the backside of that, it looks like we've got some budget problems forthcoming. Like I said, we're not getting the funding, and it doesn't look.
Why
like
are we getting the funding? Yeah,
exactly. What is that equation look like? How do I break that equation down, and who do we got to talk to change it? Like who at the state level sets up the state funding? I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
I don't want to be the redheaded stepchild. I say that to my son because he is. But I just want the best for him.
Yeah,
and if that's more funding. So they can pay the teachers.
We got to figure out
a little. You want the new teachers come out of school. You want the cream of the crop, right? Because they're teaching our kids. They're teaching your son.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's what we want, and we got to figure out how to get them.
Yeah.
And it's the third thing I always key on is we've got the buildings that are. I was involved in the early 2000s, right? I just told you we have typically we're cash flow negative right now in the district. They're spending more than they're bringing in. Those buildings are going to have some life cycle issues, chillers, air handlers, boilers, stuff like that. There's some real value I can provide.
They had to put a roof on them yet?
I don't think they have yet, but they're probably close. Most of those come with 20-year warranties. We're sitting right at 20 years.
We're 19, 20 right now.
So you got to make sure that stuff's built into your budget as well. Hey, in another 5 years, we're going to have to replace this roof, or this chiller should die within the next 5 years. They're running about $130,000 a year. I can help lay some of that stuff out.
Yeah.
Because, the taxpayers have spent a small fortune in this area, because we have a very nice school system.
Very nice.
You want to maintain it to what they would expect. Yeah. I can provide the construction side of it like that as well. It'll probably eliminate Geiger Brothers from being able to do work there.
Which
I would think it was. It does. It does for the company because I don't want to.
Scott was
yeah, exactly.
Good job, Hickey.
Yeah, exactly. We don't do a lot. Most of my stuff for the schools has been like volunteer stuff. They'll call me like, hey, do you still have the drawings on this? And we'll go through it. They'll come down to our office, and we never bill them. It's Jackson, and that's where we all went to school. But
I forgot about it. Massey was just hanging you out to dry the other day at boxing. He goes, what kind of idiot is he? He said, here said, we're trying to run a company, and he decides just to take us out of all the bids, he said.
And that's what I don't want to ever happen. I don't want to ever give, the look that like, hey, he's steering his stuff to me.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Not interested in it. There's enough work out there right now that I can provide some advice without doing the work and oversee help oversee it and be like, and I'm like, that's not right or whatever. Make sure the districts get the best bang for their buck. Because they got some big expenses coming, and all the districts in this area do, whether they know it or not. They were all built about the same time.
Yep.
They're all going to start incurring massive costs. The chillers have 20-year lifespans. The roofs have a 20-year warranty.
Yeah. Parking lots.
Nothing's cheap.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nothing's cheap right now. And when you're running on a shoestring budget anyway, it's going to be hard for a lot of districts.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So anything else on school board?
Final, I just got to say, guys, I mean, it's not close. Vote for this guy and do it for our kids.
Do it for the children.
Yes.
Do it for the children.
Guys. Yeah. I do. I'm excited.
Hey, I'm endorsing you. Cheers.
Yeah.
I'm
cheers on the skis. Skis up. Hey, so I'm going to let's see, White River National Forest, Colorado, spot 361.
I'll have to look it up. Where is it in relationship to Denver?
West.
Okay.
Hour and a half, 2 hours.
What's a little town near it? Vale, Steamboat, any of them?
Ooh, Glendale? Did you say Glendale?
No, but that is a town in Colorado.
Yeah, maybe.
That's great. Elk, mule deer?
Elk.
Really?
I just got a 4570. Dad and I traded some 20 gauges and got a 4570, and that was kind of what was holding me back. Was I didn't know what gun I was going to get, and I hated to buy. I needed
just come borrow one.
Well, I wanted to get a rifle. We had tons of like rabbit shotguns.
Yeah, sure.
And I was like, Dad, let's go trade these and get us a gun that we can use. A road gun / if I want to go take it on an elk hunt. So we ended up getting
So it's rifle.
Taking a rifle.
Okay. Guided.
No, public.
Really? That's what I do.
Okay, so
I've never done a guided hunt myself. I've helped guide hunts.
Okay.
On the backside with some buddies of mine in Utah. They're actual guides.
Okay. Yeah.
I say I help guide. I'm a spotter or whatever. They'll put me on a mountaintop and
hey, look.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'll go, hey boys, I got one over
you
here.
Radio.
In Utah you can, yeah.
Okay.
I think Colorado you can. I have to look.
So we're gonna put up base camp, and then we will put up spike camp.
Yep.
Down in 7 miles or so.
Yeah, it's not like 7 miles here. Trust me.
So what am I in for as far as like, let's say we kill one?
How many of you?
There's gonna be 2 or 3 probably.
It's not good.
Well, you got two trips a day.
When you pull the trigger, the fun stops. That's what I always say. So it's a catch-22. What time of year?
October 10th through the 18th.
So you'll catch, if you're up high, right, the temperatures are lower. There's always snow on the mountain peaks and whatever. The trick is to get the meat out before it spoils, and it is a job. I mean, you quarter it out, put it in your backpack, and you take off. Backpack will weigh 75, 85 pounds, as much as you can get in it, because you don't want to make an extra trip.
You take your weapon with you every time in and out too, don't you?
You can. I used to, like when I archery hunted, I did carry a sidearm in Colorado. We packed in to a camp for 5 days, and I carried a sidearm. But we did come back, and there was a bear standing in our camp checking things out too. So that's why
I was going to say, you go leaving a carcass out there 7 miles deep, and you're going to come back to some buddies.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that area, but most areas out there have mountain lions, especially where we hunt in Utah. And they're like a house cat, right? They're no different. They're just a big version of house cat. They'll just kill you and knock you around and then just walk off like they do mice. A house cat around here, they'll kill something. They don't need to eat it. It's just because it ran by.
Yeah.
They've got a different instinct, and they do mess with some people out in Utah.
If you're just walking down the trail, you think they'd ever just come out at you?
My buddy has had them, and he's a wildlife biologist for the state of Utah. He's had them, caught one, looking down at you. They're so sneaky, you don't know they're there.
Yeah.
It's not like you heard it or anything, but it'll be like looking up over a rock cliff, checking you out, oh, there he is. And then you'll go walk another half mile, and then you see him again. And they'll
track you.
Yeah. I mean, you're a game to them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You're getting hunted.
You're the mouse, and
nobody in Ohio knows what that feels like.
No, I've slept on a lot of mountains, and it was hilarious. They're supposed to have in King Mountain out in Colorado. They're supposed to have the cows off the mountain by the time you hunt. The ranchers end up leaving with some stragglers. They literally just real cowboys drive these cows off the mountain down into the bottoms before the winters come.
Yeah,
because they get 10 feet of snow up on top of those mountains. And I thought we had one night that we'd seen that bear in camp out in Colorado. This has been 10 years ago. We're laying in, me and Josh Jenkins, we were laying in a tent on the ground, and I hear this hoof and this, and I was like, oh, God, he's right outside.
Here he is.
And it was a cow. Was it? Well, yeah, but I mean, I thought we had. I mean, I rolled over, grabbed you sleep with your gun. Yeah. And thank God it was a cow. But there were some restless nights up there.
I wouldn't worry so much about a black bear.
No, they're not too bad.
Yeah.
They're more scared of you.
And there's no grizzlies out there.
No.
The only thing you really got to be worried about is a mountain lion. Rattlesnake, mountain lion.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have any rattlesnakes where I'm going.
I went out a month ago, probably now. Me and Josh went out, met our buddy out in Utah. We camped in Utah. Archery hunt. We got one mule deer. Buddy actually shot it from Utah, and then I found it and put the final shot on it with a bow. Josh missed one, and we ended up with one. It was in velvet. It's a pretty cool picture.
Huh.
You can't hunt them in velvet around here. They're all they consider it hard-horned.
Yeah.
But out there in archery, you can. Yeah.
Huh.
I hope to go back. My daughter has now got a tag. In Utah. She
killed one, didn't she?
Last year she did. Yeah. We're supposed to go back into this month. I haven't told Scott yet. But no, we got a. The leftover tag. Say you draw a tag and you break your leg. You can turn it back in. Well, that tag becomes available for other people. So she's got a tag now. But if I have to make that happen, it's going to happen quick because the season's end of October. Yeah.
I'm going for that late or it's the first rifle season, but it's pretty late in the season.
Yeah.
When I'm going, but I'm going. So this weekend I'm going to Brown County, Indiana.
Yeah.
I'm roughing it out. I'm going on a biking backpacking trip. So I'm going to see how much, and the reason for this trip is to see how much I like this tent camping compared to 25 years ago when I used to do it.
So get used to. I mean, I was up there a month ago. You know, it was. I think we were in a tent. We were out there 10 days. In a tent 7. Hurricane blew in off the West Coast, drowned us 3 or 4 times. We went 7 days with no shower.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
That's a weird feeling, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I go home, get
There's
a shower,
a film
wake up
on
in the
you.
morning. Oh, it's awful.
Did you feel clean after your first shower?
You take like 2 because the water turns brown. Yeah. It's awful. But other than that, you'll be so tired, you'll sleep good.
Yeah.
So you'll if you're like me, you'll struggle most with the altitude. So the first day, I feel like I'm hungover. Usually,
Okay.
We camped at like 9 maybe this year, and it's like a headache. I mean, it's almost like a seasickness headache. And after one day, it goes away for me, and I'm ready to go. But you'll see, you walked into the room here, and you're out of breath. So it's different. While like hiking with heavy backpacks around here is hard, up there you do it with no air.
So this weekend, this first time it's ever happened to me. Did I tell you about that with the helmet? I don't know if I held my breath or what I did, but I was racing. I had my last race of the season. And I wore a dirt bike helmet as my full face. I was going to a place that was pretty intense. And I don't know. And I mean, I'm going downhill, right? So I wasn't like overexerting, but I think I forgot to like hold my, but you're still, it's like riding a dirt bike. You're still, I lost all breath. And whenever I got to the end of the stage, I couldn't get that helmet off fast enough.
Almost hyperventilating.
And I mean, I was worried. Yeah. It freaked me out for a minute. Is that what that feels like when you don't have any air like that?
It's your heart rate seems outrageous. Like you'll feel it in your neck, and your head will be, feel like you can feel your heart in your head. But it's just really, really heavy breathing. And then even at night, like once everything's settled down and you go to sleep, your body will make you take a giant breath. Like you'll hear your buddy do it or me or, whatever. They just, halfway through it, you'll go 15 minutes and all of a sudden your body will take a huge breath by itself. Like almost like you're drowning. When you're underwater and you finally go, your body will make you do that.
Oh.
Now those guys out there that I hunt with, they sleep at 5,000 or 6,000. Every night. Their house is that high. Yeah, we're at 500 or 600 here. So
big difference.
Oh yeah,
big difference.
The first day I feel like crap, and I'm always like, why do I do this to myself? And by the time I'm done, I just can't wait to turn around and go back. It's the most addicting thing to just be out, like free. Phone don't work. That's an addiction. I mean, I think I've been like 20 times. I don't know.
I can't wait. I've
been to Utah 13, and if I go in a couple weeks, it'll be 14.
Well, you fly though, don't you?
I fly Southwest.
Yeah. Oh, do you?
Yeah. I go out of CVG. I figured this out. It took me a couple of tries. So I used to go out of Columbus, but I go out of CVG.
Fly? You're playing
$300 ticket. 300's out and back, and it's nonstop to see Salt Lake City. So we went out. You would have loved it. We went out. I rented a Rubicon. I didn't know that. I just rented a Jeep Wrangler from Enterprise. Dude, we ran that thing in a hurricane in the mountains. A hurricane blew in. I mean, rain, mud. We had it in four-wheel drive with a locker for 7 days straight. We had to spray it off with the power washer for like an hour. We turned it back in. This girl crawled all over because you're in Utah, right? You rented a Rubicon. They got to think like, what are you doing with Rubicon?
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, we'll never get our money back. They crawled all over it. We power washed it real good. They were good, but it was phenomenal.
So $300 out there and back?
Yeah, tickets are cheap.
Why am I going to drive? Well, the reason is my buddy said. So my buddy told me, the guy, hopefully he goes, Travis. He goes, dude, you have $1,500, $2,000 in this whole thing. If you drive it, because he said that it's cheaper because you can haul everything back.
That's where you run into trouble. So if you do shoot an elk, right? Now I have flew home with a mule deer. So my daughters last year, we packaged it up. I quartered it out. We packed it out of the mountains. We went down to his house. We packaged it up. We froze it real hard one night. I went to Walmart and got them little cheap insulated grocery bags. Yeah. Threw it in my carry-on and got home and it still froze like a solid rock. No kidding. An elk, you're going to look a little ridiculous, right? That's like 500 pounds of meat. Whatever. But, that's when you get into trouble. You end up having to bring some of it back.
Yeah.
what I plan to do this time. If I go out to Utah, my friends from Utah are coming here to hunt whitetail.
You
like
just
2
leave
weeks
there
later,
and have them
they'll bring it with them. They want to drive. They want to see it.
Yeah.
I've made that drive. Utah's like 30 some hours.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know if I want to do it again.
Yeah, it's 24. They said that my buddy said whenever they got out of the woods, he said that whenever they tore down camp and got in their truck, the next stop was Ohio.
Yeah, that's what we do. We usually take 2 days to get out, and then we just
They did 24.
about die on the way back. You just hammer down.
Yeah, they it was 1 day out, 1 day back, and sitting there the whole time. I'm so excited about it. I mean, this is a bucket list thing for me.
When you go out there the first day, you'll want to call me and go, dude, this is the most miserable thing I've ever done in my life. I can't breathe. My head hurts.
Well, I've been out there. I was on Pikes Peak.
Have you been up there?
Yeah.
You may like it, but when
I
as
go
soon
to
as you
snowshoe
leave,
a lot.
you'll just want to come back.
And snowshoe's almost 6.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm. It's as high as Denver.
No kidding. I've flown over it a bunch, but did I tell you guys I got my certified flight instructor, so I can teach people how to fly.
I thought you did the last time he was on there.
I had my commercial. I didn't have my flight instructor.
Flight instructor, very nice. He just keeps
man.
adding.
Just keep
Do you
going.
ever work or do you just
No, not very much. No.
That's it. You're paying.
I always wanted to do it. You got to be a commercial pilot to be instructor, but it kind of goes back. I think I would have been a commercial pilot if I knew in this area that was an option.
Yeah.
What I know now, that's what I'd be doing.
So you could teach me how to fly now.
Yeah. Anytime you want to take lessons.
Yeah.
So.
I was going.
That'd be $3,000 an hour.
How much is flight lessons?
I've never set a price. They're all over the place because it's just like, what do you want to charge you, buddy? Or you go to these big schools, they're $35 an hour to $75 an hour to. Yeah. It's all over the place. Around here, not very much. I just like to fly.
On. I see it going on over the house. Hell,
you would.
I got a bird's eye view of the airport.
You would.
I watch that. Man, they get right above a house, kill that plane every time, and just.
Oh yeah, they would. You'd be downwind. Yeah.
And so what do they do? Just glide down?
Typically. So you get a beam the numbers we call it. So you're like parallel to the runway. You want to land the opposite way, and when you get directly across from the numbers on the runway, you bring the power back and start your descent in. So you're almost idle, and you just make a base turn and then a final turn.
We love it at the summertime. We'll jump in the side by side and just go down to the airport and sit and watch all the planes. And there's some guy
Is there
out
a lot
there.
of traffic out there?
Oh,
a lot more than you think.
There's some guy out there in one of them little homemade jobs that runs around all.
Oh, that's Bo Sword.
Who is it?
Bo Sword. Bo Swords.
Okay.
It's a
Parasol.
What is it, ultralights or something?
No,
it's an ultralight.
Lawnmower motor is what it sounds like.
Yeah, it is. That's it. It's a 2-stroke, I believe. And
it's a 2-stroke.
He's ultralight, so it doesn't even require a pilot's license. He figured it out on his own.
What is he, 150, 200 feet up, maybe 300?
Yeah, he just zooms around treetops.
Is that the one with the parachute attached to it, or?
No, this one doesn't, but they do exist.
He's like sitting on a go-kart with no wheels.
Yeah, I've seen
with
that.
wings.
With wings.
Yeah, it's literally a little go-kart looking thing. And he taught himself and watched YouTube videos and then taught himself.
He wrecked it at all?
No, he put floats on it, and he owns a 15-acre pond down in Gay County, like a strip mine pond. Lands in it. It's awesome. I love it. Like,
how far could he go on that thing?
I don't know how much big a fuel tank it is, but he goes over the house real low.
Yeah, I would be afraid if he got up, he'd just take him.
Yeah, it's neat to watch him. That's the cool thing about flying, right? You can fly in a jet. You can fly. There's so many different things. Like just say you're a pilot. It's not really a one.
When's that big air show that they usually? It's probably over.
It was supposed to be this year. They ended up moving out the next year. A bunch of the planes had canceled that would come in, so they're going to try to have a.
You ever go out to that?
Years ago, man.
They had what's that? Is it a B-52 they bring out there?
They did that year. Yeah.
Last year they had that B-52?
Yep.
Hey, and they flew it in and out.
Wow, that's awesome.
Right?
It was a beast. Yeah.
It was a beast.
That's awesome.
You ought to take a boy out there.
I would. I don't.
They'll let you get up in them them things. They can take rides.
Oh man.
I've never done rides.
We're working on some stuff now with the Economic Development Board. I'm on the County Airport Authority. They just meet once a month. And they're working on some stuff. Like yesterday, I know there was 4 jets that came into four total airplanes, 2 jets that came into Jackson to support business. One was with an insurance company, and one was here for Speyside, the bourbon barrels. So the economic growth of a little airport provides enormous. Something about semis. They were damaged, and they were hitting like 5 or 6.
They flew the adjuster in.
Yeah.
Huh. I was wondering what kind of stop we were for like fuel.
What we try to do as a board is we set the fuel price. We try to keep it lower, just a little lower than the surrounding airports, so we can pull in those guys that go, I'm going from here to here, and Jackson's about the middle, or Jackson's where I need fuel. And they look, there's an app that we have that you can get on, and it'll show you the fuel prices.
But if you have more traffic, can you get more money?
No, ODOT and the FAA, they kind of base their funding off of traffic.
Yeah.
But we do utilize that, and that's how a lot of our projects out there are funded. They're not usually 90% funded by the FAA, 5% funded by ODOT, and then the county picks up the remaining 5%. So we get like a screaming cheap deal.
Yeah.
And then the fuel sales we try to keep lower because if we can grab that plane that's just transient, it's just flying over.
Yeah.
Everybody lands and either get a hotel room for the night,
Airbnb, whatever.
Exactly. They come in, get an Airbnb, they eat before they take back off. That we got a car out there at the airport is free for pilots, so they come out, they get the key, and they can come to town and get fuel. So try to get some economic money coming back into it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's busier than what you think.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, I didn't really realize it until I moved out there, and it's really gotten busy. There's nothing cooler than sit there and just listen. I can hear it from my front porch, a jet fire.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Those things are wicked, man. They take off. So, what else we got, Hickey? When's the election?
November 7th.
November 7th. All right. Well, I can't vote for it.
Early voting started yesterday.
Okay.
So you can go down to the Board of Elections out back.
Job and Family.
Yep. Down in the basement down there. You can go down there and vote.
Board of Elections now a brewery. 6 cents in there now.
Yeah. True. True. Yeah. Have you been in there? We did the electric on that building. It's really cool.
I heard it's going to be sweet.
I'm tickled to death with what they're doing downtown. Yeah. They're trying to renovate.
A lot
this
going
downtown.
on downtown, man.
It is,
nice.
and I watched Chillicothe do it a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And,
now there's people that say that it's not doing great anymore.
Here?
No, in Chillicothe.
Chillicothe, really?
Yeah, there's people that say that some of that downtown Chillicothe is not doing great anymore.
Wow.
I'm over there a lot.
I hate to hear that.
Yeah, I'm over there, and they say that it's just like anything else. Everybody's got their issues,
Sure.
But right now, I tell you can't hardly get a spot downtown during the day. I mean,
really
only like down here can you get parking, or you got that whole city lot over there.
Yeah,
that people are starting to use. But it's moving and shaking,
starting to boom a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
well, hey man, good luck.
Cheers, boys.
Thanks, guys.
Vote Kyle
Hickey for
Hickey.
school board.
He's endorsed by the Chubbies, 2-time guest.
Yeah.
We didn't just have you on here just to win the election.
No.
Yeah, you're a second-time guest.
Yep.
So, all right.
All right.
See you, Chubbies.
See you. Take
like
care.
and subscribe. See you.